Hey, what is up guys? We're here with a video today on how to create mix-ups in Mortal Kombat. So a lot of characters have built-in overheads or lows that are either launchers or can be special canceled and lead to big damage, right? So for characters like those, this doesn't really apply as much, but for characters like Johnny, who are either missing a low or an overhead launcher, this is really important information. So the thing about Johnny that you guys may or may not know is that he doesn't really have a low launcher. His main low attacks are like down 3, which does 2% damage, and down 4, which does 3%. Now the thing is, if he lands this string, 4-4, he's going to deal like 20 to 30% damage. So why would you ever not block overhead when this leads to 20 to 30% when you'd have to do a billion of these down 3s to even add up to that amount of damage, right? You know, how do you force people to block low as Johnny Cage if it's almost always better for them to, just block the overhead? And the answer is pretty simple, right? He has a string 1-1-3 that the third kick is a low. So with this string, Johnny can actually make you block low and then make you eat the overheads and then make you second guess his offense, which is a really good situation for him. So you see this 1-1-3, right? If they don't block the 3, which is a low kick, you can cancel an EX not punch and you'll get like mid 30% damage off of that low. So now when people see this 1-1, they're gonna block low, right? Because they're expecting that third low kick. Suddenly 1-1 into forward 2, the overhead, is a real mix-up. So now suddenly Johnny Cage went from having, only overheads to this into either 1-1-3, which is a low, or 1-1 overhead, which is obviously an overhead attack. So Johnny Cage, just with that single string, can now have overhead and low mix-ups against characters where he previously didn't before, right? Which is really great for him. But the question a lot of people ask is, I'll set him to block, if they're just going to sit there and block that, then how do I mix things up more, right? I have 1-1-3, which is the low, or 1-1 into 4-2, which is the overhead. How do I get more mix-ups? How do I get more pressure? What do I do? So here's the deal. After that 1-1, right, people are going to block. They're either going to try to block the low, or they're going to try to block the overhead, right? So what does that mean when players are just sitting there blocking, right? 1-1, throw. Every time. So now suddenly you have a mix-up with 1-1-3, or 1-1 overhead, or 1-1 forward throw, 1-1 back throw. So you now have 4 options after that one string that help create real mix-ups, right? You have mix-ups there that characters are just going to have to deal with. Another thing, if you do this 1-1, and people are either trying to block the low or block the overhead, then why not go for something else? Because if 1-1 they're trying to block after block the low or block the overhead, then 1-1, 1-1, overhead or something like that, right? Because they're trying to block the mix-up. So now you have free reign to just go for whatever kind of mix-ups you want. 1-1, just maybe go down 3, overhead. So you have more free reign. Because they're so scared of this 1-1-3 string that is a low attack, you now have your opponent, kind of convinced to block things that previously wasn't so scary with Johnny. At the beginning of this video, if I said, would you ever block low against Johnny? Pretty much all of you would have been like, no, I have no reason, right? But now that you look at this, you realize that not only can Johnny make you block low, but he can force you to eat throws, he can force you to guess between other mix-ups, and if he's in a variation like fisticuffs, he can just pressure you with this kind of stuff and do a bunch of chip. Same off of that 1-1 string that previously there was no reason to be afraid of. So even though it's not a built-in overhead, it's not a built-in low that's very obvious and leads to a lot of damage like some characters, you can force mix-ups in situations that previously wouldn't have really been a big deal. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, learned a little something, and I will see you guys again soon.